Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Red Circle. Also on the Five Reasons YouTube channel, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. Also check out Off the Floor. You get text directly to your phone. You can skip Twitter and the other social media services if you want to, and you can turn it off at any time because all you got to do is hit hide alerts. But go to winnow.app/off the floor, $3.05 per month or $30 for the year. And the first week is free. Also, check out the great sponsors of the Five Reasons Sports Network. That includes Prize Picks. Yes, we know that Summer League is closing up here. There won't be NBA for a while, but there are NFL props on there. So go to Prize Picks. Use the code 5FIVE, get in on the ones you like. I would play Tyreek Hill, among others. Also, you can still play MLS, MMA, boxing, tennis, Wimbledon, if you want to do that, golf, etc. It's all there at Prize Picks. Use the code 5FIVE, get that initial deposit matched up to $100. And now, today's episode.
Down the bitch gang.
Yeah. Five on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the floor playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, and Alex Toledo, plus others from the Five Reasons Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to Five on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick on the Five Reasons Sports. And from Las Vegas, where I was supposed to be until I missed a flight, and then they were going to charge me $800 to get out there the next day, and I wasn't going to do that, particularly because it was Spirit. Sean Rochester, you can follow him at S Rochester NBA. He was at the Heat Summer League game on Thursday. He'll be at the Heat Summer League game on Friday. And what we're going to do, rather than focus just on one game or anything like that, because we know we'll forget that in time, let's go through some of the players who've been with the Heat, and you can get into what you saw from them, but kind of where they're headed and how they might fit in this thing. Because I feel like some of the undrafted guys we thought would pop have not, but others have made a statement where you're like, okay, maybe this one is the next one in the pipeline. And this comes as Haywood Highsmith, who was in the pipeline and last year was kind of a featured player on Summer League, somebody who told us at Media Day last year that he was next. He was next, we see, because he's just been given a standard contract by the Heat, which is how they followed what they did already with Orlando Robinson. But let's start here. First, Jovic, Jaquez. Neither of them played in the game on Thursday. We don't know if either will play on the game on Friday. We don't know if they're going to be shipped to Portland, one or the other. But just from what they've produced so far, do you think that this experience has been a success for them?
Yeah, definitely. The early results that you saw from them, whether it was in Sacramento or Utah, the early games are now not getting to see them in Vegas, but you know, they're the guys with the first round pedigree. And so I think that showing in Jovic's case, the growth, the body, getting to the free throw line, and, you know, in Jaquez's situation where he just proved what, you know, we kind of thought we were going to see, like his ability to get to the basket, kind of crab dribble and score, defend, and be athletic. I mean, that was kind of the misnomer about him as we went into the draft, that he was unathletic, and he's very athletic. So I think both those guys, I think you got to feel good about them coming out of the summer, even if they're not going to continue the rest of the week.
All right, Orlando Robinson, last two games, he's gone off. He scored over 60 points. You tweeted during the game on Thursday, he was having some difficulty against length. Again, it's sort of unique length. I mean, you're talking about Taco Fall. He's not going to see a lot of guys like that. But then he did step out and made some plays after that. He told us about a week, well, not even a week ago, that he was encouraged by what he saw Kevin Love do next to Bam, and that he thought, because he thought he could do a lot of those things and more, which is interesting when you're talking about a guy who is a, I don't know, potential Hall of Famer in Kevin Love, even if he's on the downside. Have you seen enough from Orlando Robinson to believe he's a rotation player this year?
I don't know about rotation just because of the guys that we've added with Thomas Bryant, Kevin Love coming back. Obviously, Bam's in that mix. I don't know, but he's impressed in Summer League. And you talked about the three-point shot, you know, kind of modeling the Kevin Love. Today, when I watched him, he didn't make one, 0 for 5. But, you know, the confidence to continue to shoot them, But then, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists today. And I did say at the beginning of the game, he was very much, and I think as a group, the Heat were very much intimidated by Taco. And I will say, sitting close to the court, I was intimidated, little boy. But I think as the game wore on, they found ways to get him into pick and roll actions and obviously score off of that. And then also Orlando at times was very good with using fakes, drop steps, spins. He avoided the double team. It was a great play on the baseline right in front of me. He just looks very poised, and that's what you want to see out of a guy that's in his second summer.
All right, let's go to Jamal Cain now, a guy who earned a two-way last year. I actually thought we might see him more last year than we actually did, considering some of the injuries that Miami had. He looked great in training camp last year. Do you think he's ready to contribute on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, him and Bouye and Drew Smith, the pressure that they put on the ball defensively in the front, I think it just makes the life for everyone behind them so easy. And we didn't get a chance to do post-game media availability with the Heat, but that was what I was going to ask Haran about. I think they did just cause so much chaos. But on the offensive end, Cain made jump shots. He's obviously very athletic and get to the basket. He's always just active, like 50-50 balls, offensive rebounds. Obviously what I said about the defensive side, but 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, you put that with Orlando, that's 49 points from those two guys. That's impressive for those two guys.
Let's get to the point guards then. You mentioned Bouye and Drew Smith. Drew Smith seems the safer guy in a lot of ways, right? He's a bring up the ball point guard, going to get you into offense. The other guy can go. And, what's interesting to me is that, everybody's, stressed about what they gave Gabe or didn't give Gabe. Even got Paul Pierce talking about, out of his ass about how, the Heat don't have any depth now, even though he didn't know who any of these guys were that they just lost as of a year ago. And everybody said that he didn't have any depth because they had all undrafted players. But, the thing with Bouye is he is a natural point guard. Gabe was not. So this is actually less of a project in a lot of ways. It was just kind of like this kid sort of adjusting to the way that the Heat want to play. If I was to say to you, one of the two of them gets more time this year with the Heat, we don't know if Dame's coming. We don't know if Kyle's going. So you just got to say one of the two. Who do you think it is?
I would say Bouye. I think it's very comparable. Like, I think a lot of people are down on Drew Smith and high on Bouye, but Bouye had 10 assists in Summer League on Thursday. 10 assists in a game where everybody's trying to get their own. Like, nobody is being unselfish in that situation. So for him to create like that, I think that stands out. And like to your point, natural point guard, not a guy that's really necessarily looking for a shot. He had a great transition dunk. He's just an athlete. Drew Smith's a little stronger. So in terms of like quickness versus strength, and like you said, to me, he doesn't flash a lot. It's just very safe. He's going to get you into your stuff. He's going to get the ball where it's supposed to be, kind of your traditional point guard back in like the 90s basketball. There's something that the Heat like about him, though. And I think it's that untrained eye that Spo talks about. There's something that we're not seeing that I think that's why they like him. But I think that's two good choices. But I think to your point, only one of them are going to have a chance to make this roster.
Yeah, and again, how much they play depends in part on whether Dame is there. And now we were reporting today, we put this on playback and off the floor, that a Dame Lillard trade may not include Kyle Lowry. And so if that's the case, maybe Kyle's here for a period of time, then he would be the backup point guard. If they don't get Dame right now, Kyle's the starting point guard. So, and I don't know what else is out there that they can trade for quickly, and they don't have any money to spend. So on anybody, there's not much out there. Even the sort of the lower level point guards that you thought could be kind of plug and play guys for 20 minutes. There's not a lot on the market. All right, when we come back, we'll get to some of the more unknown guys, or at least unknown before camp. Here was Sean Rochester. Do want to mention great sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, our friend Dr. Jonathan Chung, huge Miami Heat fan, Dolphins fan, all that good stuff. Board certified chiropractor in chiropractic neurology, specializes in chronic pain, dizziness, and post-concussion syndrome. He's got a new sports vision training program that's used by athletes like Steph Curry. And here's the thing. He's in the Wellington area, which is sort of West Palm or West Palm Beach. But he offers telehealth consultations at an affordable price. So you can see him that way. Just a terrific guy, and he's really good at his craft. He's the type of guy that he's asked to speak at conventions. He's that good. Keystone Neuro, that's KEYSTONENEURO. That's on Instagram, or Dr. Jonathan Chung on Twitter. You can also find him on the website at chiropractic. That's chiropractickeystone.com. All right, so let's get to who we thought was going to be a big factor in Summer League and who has actually been. Justin Powell got some time in this last game, but he hasn't gotten a lot. And the Heat tend to speak with minutes in Summer League. They'll try to get their big prospects, the ball in their hands, but then you can kind of see who they're plugging in. Do you think Powell's behind some of the other guys right now, particularly the shooters?
Yeah, he's absolutely behind Drew Peterson. And I think Drew Peterson has started every game so far. Today, or in this last game, he had 10 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. To your point, Justin Powell, he had 3 points, just 1 3-point made. I just think Peterson's size is going to give him an advantage, his height, I should say, because his size, he needs to get on that Tyler Hero, Jovic diet plan because he doesn't look like he weighs but about 150 pounds. He's got to get bigger. But he actually, to me, and Summer League offense is so like vanilla. There's not a lot going on, but he held up defensively. Like he wasn't getting targeted like you would think like, a Duncan Robinson when he was trying to make the team would get targeted like that. But I liked what Peterson did. He gets a little bit bigger. He's a guy that I think could be next in the pipeline of that undrafted, just sharp shooter that, can use him in space to floor and do things like that.
Chase Audige. A lot of the guys on our network like him. What do you like, and how far away if he got a 2-way, how far away do you think he is from contributing?
Stud athlete, strong. I mean, just flies around on the floor. You can just look at him. He looks athletic walking through the hallway. I think he's probably of the group that we've talked about, not including Powell. I would say that he's the bottom of that list. Like he just needs more development. So I don't say that bottom that he's like not a good prospect, but I think he's a guy you take to Sioux Falls, you develop him over the course of a year or two. Next summer, hopefully he's making a leap and he's the guy that you're looking at sort of like Jamal Cain right now.
Who else has stood out to you?
Well, shoot, we went through about the whole roster.
I'm saying, I mean, is there anybody, because sometimes there are guys that like we don't pay a whole lot of attention to, but it's sort of like Brady last year. Who was it? I can't even remember who he said to check back on, but there was somebody to check back on and they did. So I'm just curious. Maybe there's somebody they just don't feel is ready for game time at this point.
Caleb Daniels played a decent amount of minutes, just didn't really flash in the box score, really didn't show out on the floor. But, I mean, it was a game where the Heat were up a lot significantly early. So I don't know if that's why he got minutes. To me, Patrick Gardner seems lost the entire time, especially on defense. He looks like he's just kind of wandering around trying to figure out where to go next. So I don't like him as a big guy, in terms of his potential. And then Brandon McCoy, every game seems to play just sprinkled in a couple minutes, and I don't see it with him. I just think you're only looking for a few guys. But of those 3, Daniels, Gardner, Powell, who we talked about earlier, McCoy, I just don't really see a whole lot with those guys. And Alondas Williams, I know that we came in and thought he was going to kind of be the same type of athlete. I don't think he's played a lot of minutes either from the other games. So it's, I think you're right. You can only play so many of these guys. It's a short summer league game. So you're trying to showcase guys with big minutes. And we have a couple guys that they're really trying to put out there and evaluate.
All right. I want to mention here before we close with some non-summer league stuff that Sean is very involved with us with Better Edge. So everybody should check that out. Go to betteredge.com. That's with an O. Use the code 5RSN and you'll get $20 to play right away. We know, of course, that NBA is not going on right now, but there are other sports, including MLB, that you can play. This is legal sports betting. So it's legal in 44 states. So this is not any of that shady stuff that you got to worry if you're going to get paid or where the check's coming from or anything like that. You're not betting against a bookie. You are playing others who use Better Edge. And so that's the reason you can also get the line that you want. So go to betteredge.com. Use the code 5RSN and also participate in our polls and our tournaments that we do over there. Sean, just being out there, I know that, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to be there this year, is just you just kind of overhear things, you see things. I'll give you time here as we close here for three things that caught your eye at Summer League or in Vegas since you've been out there.
Well, besides that, I sat next to Flavor Flav today on the baseline. That caught my eye and my ear. He was actually really nice talking to him in the second half. I went to the Chris Haynes and Mark Stein live show on Tuesday, and was around Haynes and was around Dame's agent. And so that was interesting, just kind of, like trying to be like investigative reporter. And I didn't really get anything out of it, but it's interesting to know that, they know more than we do. And there's something, that could be there. I saw all the Heat brass today, Andy and Zoe, the assistants were all next, on the baseline or on the sideline. Anthony Carter was still on the bench today. I thought that was interesting based on the news.
And the Heat, by the way, confirmed the news after the report in the Memphian, I guess was the name of the newspaper, that Anthony Carter would be leaving the Heat for the Grizzlies staff. I did check in with the Heat, and they did confirm that Anthony Carter is leaving for Memphis. So my guess is he's probably been part of this. He's been part of this process with them. Probably just wanted to finish the deal in Vegas. He may even be on the bench tomorrow, but he is definitely going to Memphis. That is happening.
Yeah, and good for him, because obviously he's been a big part of our player development program and a former player. So, beyond that, just walking around, there's getting late in the week. Obviously, the talent starts to get shut down. But, Shaden Sharp and Brandon Miller went at it, especially in the second half 2 days ago. Was very good. Who am I forgetting? I'm looking at my list. Nick Smith was very good. Keontae George has been playing great. Chet last night was amazing. I actually met him in the Aria Casino a couple nights ago. Grady Dick had a good game. It's just cool if you've never been out here for Summer League, because you're just going to walk around and you're going to see like random people in the line for Dairy Queen at the arena. Like you're going to be like, wow, is that really, I don't know, Kurt Thomas or whoever. You're just like, what the heck?
I'll tell you, the $8 hot dogs and
older guys, and it's just a cool experience. If you like basketball, you're up close and personal, and it's it's a long day. It's hot out here, but it's fun if you just enjoy the basketball.
Well, it's not just hot. These are literally the 3 hottest days in Vegas history coming up that you're out there for, starting today. I will say that the hot dogs in between, if you've never been out there, the way it works is they got Cox Pavilion, and then they have Thomas and Mack Center. Thomas and Mack Center is the big one where they have the assigned seats. Cox, you kind of can come in and sit where you want. And they have a little concession stand in the middle, which is where you run into everybody. Hot dogs are not worth $8. I'll tell you, the pizza's terrible. But it is what it is. A lot of funny experiences there, though. When Chris Bosh, Bosh once years ago, but Adebayo, Bam, was wearing a name tag and still was not allowed in. One of the last times I was there. And then actually, I can't even remember now. Who was the process in Philadelphia? What's his name? The GM. Pre-Morey, pre-Brand.
Sam Hinkie.
Sam Hinkie. I was sitting on press row behind one of the baskets in Cox, and they let me stay there, but they didn't think Sam Hinkie had anything to do with basketball. So they actually asked him to see some identification, which was actually kind of true. But anyway, before we close here, Sean, in conversations with people out there, whether it's media or others, what was the impression you got about the Dame thing?
So actually yesterday was on the baseline behind the media section in Thomas and Mack, where there's a little area. It's another congregation area where you can you're standing next to Zach Lowe and people like that. And you're constantly hearing stuff in the background. I was talking to some guys that work in the content creation for the Blazers. They're putting out the tweets from the team account and things like that. And I asked them, I'm a Heat fan. What do you guys think? And they're like, we just want it over with, which is hilarious because as Heat fans, we just want it over with too. And, I think I kind of shared with them what I thought the package was at this point, withholding the young guys. And I think they understood why we wouldn't offer more yet. And they also understand that it's a mistake that's been years in the making. This isn't a new problem. They messed this up by not taking care of this earlier. And now the result is there's no marketplace. Right. And so I think the vibe, at least from those people and then the random, fans, just talking to people at the blackjack table or whatever, that's the only cold place, any blackjack table I sit at is the coldest place in Vegas right now. But I think the vibes is still Miami's going to get Dame. Just it's a matter of when, not if. Yeah,
my feeling too. I thought it would happen in Vegas. I think I'm going to be wrong about that, but I don't think it's going to take too much longer after that, because it seems like Cronin used this as a chance to cry for help with that press conference the other day, and then to canvas everything, and we're not hearing about anybody. So at this point, it's just, he's sort of wasting everybody's time. And at some point, he'll ask for one more asset. The Heat will give him whatever that one more asset is. and we'll be done with this, and then we can move on. But in the meantime, we'll do 6,000 Dame episodes. Sean, we appreciate it. S Rochester NBA. Again, go to Better Edge, use code 5RSN. Prize Picks, use code 5FIVE, and check out chiropractickeystone.com. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Five on the Floor on the Five Regional Sports Network.